Hi guys, my name is Diana and I thought I would do like a really quick recommendations video where I recommend reverse harem romance books. If you don't know what reverse harem is, it is like very smutty romance books where the main character is a woman and she has 3 or more guys that are chasing after her. My ideal reverse harem is that they all like she's interested in all of them are interested in her. But in a lot of like the very early reverse harem books, like there would be one main guy that she would be with and then the rest of the guys they kind of just like fool around with, but they end up there with their own girlfriends. But like ideally she ends up with all of them. So I just have a quick few books that I want to recommend to you guys, like I love, because this is like one of my favorite genres. It's like a genre that I read all the time. Unfortunately, it's not like a very diverse genre, so a lot of these books are like white characters, but you win some, you lose some. So let's just get into recommendations. So the first author I have is actually like one of my favorite reverse harem authors, and I highly recommend them, is CM Stitch. So she wrote Boys of Burberry Prep, which I love this one, and then she also wrote Adamson's All Boys Academy, which is like Secret Girl. But anyways, we're gonna start off with the Boys of Burberry Prep. So this one is about this girl who gets this scholarship into like this really rich school, and everyone in the school is like really rich, but she's actually poor, and like I said, she's on a scholarship. And so the guys kind of start picking on her because they just feel like she does not deserve to be there, because like they're all rich and like they earned their spot, whereas like I don't know, it actually doesn't really make any sense to me, because if anybody earned it, it's her, considering like she has to, like she's only on a scholarship, like she's really smart, like I don't know, and they all paid their way in. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I digress. It's like really fun. There's like this her guy best friend at home that like before they left, like they kind of like had like this, like they're like kind of enemies now. She's also enemies with this guy. Like he comes like visit them, and then they all like, I don't know, it's like a mess. It's a lot going on. That's also why I love reverse harems, because there's always a lot going on in these books and just so much like drama. And yeah, it takes place in high school. A lot of these reverse harems take place in high school. It's kind of like why I don't really read the genre as much anymore, because I haven't really found any that like take place in college. And then we also have Adamson's All Boys Academy, which the first book is called The Secret Girl. And this book is about this girl, she's the man with Amanda Bynes. So this girl is going to this all boys school under cover of like a guy. Someone has been like murdered at the school, and she's trying to like figure out who it was, I believe. And or like her friend had been she's trying to figure out a murder, okay? And she ends up like involved with like these guys, and like they're just like the really rich guys at the school. And I just thought it was like super fun. And then there's also a novel where it's like a college, they're going to college and they meet up. The Adamson group and the Burberry Prep group all meet up in a college novel. I started it, but I haven't finished it, but I just think that's such a fun idea. Like I said, CM Stitch does have some misses, but other than that, like her hits really hit. The next book I have is Lilac, and this is actually written by a black author, but unfortunately the main character is not black. But I love this book. It's one of my favorite books on the list. It's about this girl who, I can't remember if she played like a guitar or something, but she has like this all-time favorite band, and one of the band, they're about to go on tour again, and then one of the band members dies and they need somebody to replace him so they can go on tour. So she actually decides to audition for it, because she like doesn't really have any money or anything. So she auditions and she ends up getting in, but they kind of like don't like her. And I just thought this one was fun, and this is one of the reverse harems where like the guys are actually into each other as well, which is like what I prefer. Like I prefer like everyone to just be in love, you know. So that's mostly why I like this book, because a lot of other ones are just like, we all like the girl, but I'm like, I want everybody to be in love here, okay? But like when everybody's in love, that's technically just a polyamorous relationship, which is also my favorite, but whatever. Then I have Hate by like the Kate something series. I thought this was like, okay, this is about this girl. There's like this group of guys, and this girl, like she goes like, she's in the wrong place at the wrong time, and like I think she either snitches on these guys, or these guys think that she snitches on them, so she has to like move away for something, and then she moves back and she ends up finding out that her dad married one of their moms, and so they're like living in her house. And then like she has like this stalker that's after her, and they all like have to like figure out like what's going on. And she's in college, it's a lot going on. I did like the fact that she was in college, because I was like, when I was reading this, I was very much over the like whole high school reverse harems. Also in Lilac they're adults, obviously, but I was just so over like the whole. Then I have Bloodline Vampires, which I love. This is like a Court of a Vampire Queen books. This one is about this girl who like, she's a half vampire half human, and her dad is selling her off to like live with the vampires, and so kind of like to like be his like spy or whatever, and she ends up going to live with this vampire, and obviously she's like off-putted by it first, but then she ends up falling in love with, like, she ends up like getting involved with him, and then his friends like come to visit him, and they all just end up, you know, exploring each other and whatnot. And it's really short and quick. You can get them on Kindle Unlimited, and like the Kindle Unlimited ones, they're all like 150 pages, but if you get the bind up, it's like a 300-page book, but it's really just split into 3 different mini books. I have Locked Up Liars, which I don't particularly love this one, but I thought it was like fun. So it's about this, okay, it's a lot going on here. So it's about this girl, and her sister was brutally murdered, and they suspect it was her ex-boyfriend, well, her sister's ex-boyfriend, but she knows it's not her sister's ex-boyfriend because she's like kind of like him, and she like knows it's not him because she knows him, and he ends up getting sent to jail. So she decides she wants to like figure out what happened, so she applies to become a teacher at this jail to like teach everybody, like yeah, teach everybody there, but also she can like see him and stuff. So she gets this lawyer who like she went to high school with to help, and then while she's in the prison, there's this guard that's there, and they all form this romance together. And I think why I didn't like it that much is because like I said, I prefer when my characters all like, when all like the guys also love each other as well. And I think in this one they didn't, but they did just for the main character. It was something like that. It was something like that. Okay, and then the next book I have is The Wolf Hotel, but it's book 2 specifically. The first book is not reverse harem, but the second book is. And I love this book. This book, okay, so the first book is about this girl who boyfriend breaks up with her because she's like a goody two-shoes, and she's like saving herself, and he wants to be a, you know how guys are, they want to enjoy their 20s and see what's out there. So that's why he breaks up with her, because he wants to like see what's out there, but he doesn't say that, but that's what it is. He wants to see what's out there. So he breaks up with her. He's like, I'm gonna come back to you in a year, like we could just be single, like let's just take a break. She's like, okay, like a loser, sorry, but she's like, okay, and she ends up like deciding to go to Alaska just for a year to just, you know, get some experience, and she ends up meeting the guy who owns the hotel, and they end up sparking this romance. So at the end, like, things happen at the end of that book. They don't end up together, I don't think. And then the second book, it's like a reverse harem. It's not like fully reverse harem, it's mostly just like a 3-way, but I count it as reverse harem. I have Boys of Berkshire High, which is like one of the very first reverse harems I ever read, and I just like, I don't know, I think this is like really fun. I haven't finished the series because it got a little weird, and I just was like getting confused, and so I was like, you know what, it's not really worth it. Yeah, it's about this girl. She like grew up poor, and she was homeless, and so she's entered like this all-girls school. I mean, this like well, she ends up being put into a home, and she ends up being transferred to like this new school, and she ends up like meeting the popular guys at this school, and she's not taking their shit. She's not like everybody else. She's not like other girls, and she carries this knife around everywhere because she's just such a bad bitch. And like, I'm saying all of this, but like I actually loved her as a character. She was actually like one of my favorite characters reading it. Then the books get a little weird because it's like, then it's like they're siblings, but then they're not, and I was like, I don't really mess with all that stuff. But just read the first book. The first book is like really fun, but like I said, it takes place in high school, and I don't really like those high school reverse harems anymore, but when I read it, it was fun. This book is I forgot what they're called, shifters, I think. I'm just getting into that genre, so I'm like very, very new to it, but they are like werewolves, so if that's not your thing, then like. Lola and the Millionaires is about this girl named Lola who is like at this job, and she ends up like getting involved with this millionaires, whatever. I didn't really like that one. My favorite is Baby and the Late Night Howlers. Now this one is about Baby, and she is Omega, and I think she wasn't originally set. She didn't know what she was for a very long time. She didn't really have like a, I would call it a ranking. She didn't have like a ranking, and so you usually get one by a certain age, and like, so she ends up find out she's an Omega, so she puts into this program, and she ends up like coming across this group that she wants to be with, but like they have to pick her and she has to pick them or something like that. And it's just really hot and it's really quick, and I liked it. It was a lot of fun. Then I have Scream for Us, which this one is about this girl who on Halloween ends up running into these guys, and like one of them is like an adjacent mask, one is like a Scream mask, one is like a Freddy mask, and they all end up like hooking up on Halloween night, like that way. And I just thought that it was like really fun. It has a second book to it. Do not read the second book. Don't do that. Especially like trigger warnings. Don't read the second book. But I will say the first book is really quick, fun, smutty. You'll have a good time if you're looking for something like quick, because a lot of these other books are really not that quick, but this one is. And then lastly we have The Dare, which is also very quick, and this one is similar to the last one. It's like a very short like Halloween book. So this one is about this girl, and on Halloween night she ends up like going to this college party, and she ends up finding this guy that she kind of used to pick on in high school, or her boyfriend used to pick on, and you end up finding out that they like kissed at one point. And so he is like, they had kind of like this weird thing going on, but she used to like pick on him and like let her boyfriend pick on him, so he kind of has like these like weird feelings towards her, and they end up like sparking this like one night stand like romance, and he like does like a lot of like humiliating things to her, and then he also like brings in his friends, and then yeah, and so this is just like their one night stand. This book also has a full version called The Losers, and that one is like what happens after this, and then like sparking like more than that. And I really loved it. I really loved part one. I just don't read part two because I just feel like long romances, I just feel like books are like long for no reason, and that's just me. But yeah, I hope that you like these books. Let me know if like you want a polyamorous recommendation, because I have those. And let me know if you want like any more like specific romance recommendations, because I guess I could give those. And I'll see you guys in the next video.